My father dropped me off at summer camp and never picked me up, but now he wants to walk me down the aisle. The summer I turned 12, my dad told me he had a surprise. He drove me 3 hours to a sleepaway camp in the mountains, helped me carry my bag to the cabin, showed me which bunk was mine, and told me he'd be back in 2 weeks. He hugged me at the car, said he loved me, and drove away. I stood in the parking lot watching his taillights disappear around the bend. 2 weeks came and went. I made friends, learned to swim in the lake, got my first sunburn. Pickup day arrived, and every single kid had a parent waiting in the parking lot with the engine running. Every kid except me. The camp director called my dad's number over and over. No answer. They called my emergency contact, my mom, who I hadn't seen since I was 4. She didn't pick up either. I sat on a wooden bench with my bag next to me for 3 hours watching every other family load up and pull away one by one until the lot was completely empty. The camp director, a woman named Sonia, finally sat down beside me and said she'd figure something out. She squeezed my shoulder and I could tell by her face she was trying not to cry. She let me stay an extra night while she contacted social services. The next morning, a caseworker showed up and took me to a group home 2 towns over. I never saw that camp again. I later found out my dad had driven straight from dropping me off to another state to start a new life with a woman he'd been seeing for over a year. He packed up our apartment while I was roasting marshmallows and learning lanyards, sold what he could, left everything else. My childhood bedroom, my books, my clothes, my dog. A neighbor found the dog tied to the front porch railing 2 days later with an empty water bowl next to him. That part still gets me more than anything. More than the apartment, more than the lying. He tied up the dog and just left. I spent the next 6 years in the system. 3 group homes, 2 foster families. The first was decent, but temporary. The second had a daughter named Raina, who became my best friend within a week, and eventually my sister in every way that matters. Her parents didn't adopt me officially, but they never made me feel like a guest. I graduated high school, sleeping on a twin mattress, wedged between Raina's desk and the wall, because there was no spare room. I worked through community college, then transferred. I waitressed, tutored, cleaned office buildings at night. I met my fiancé Trenton at a tutoring center where he kept showing up pretending he needed help with history, even though he was a history major with a 3.8 GPA. It took him 6 visits to ask for my number instead of help with the War of 1812. He proposed last spring, and I posted a photo of the ring without thinking about who might see it. 4 days later, I got a message request from a name I didn't recognize. I opened it and read the first line. "Hey sweetheart, it's Dad." I was sitting in my car in a parking lot and I read that message 3 times before my hands started shaking. He said he'd seen my engagement post through a mutual connection. He said he was proud of me. He said he wanted to reconnect and be part of the wedding. Then he asked if he could walk me down the aisle. I showed Trenton that night and he read it without speaking for a long time. Then he said whatever I decided, he was behind me completely. I thought about it for 2 full days. I thought about that bench at camp and how the lot looked when the last car pulled away. I thought about my dog tied to that porch with an empty bowl. I thought about Raina's parents dragging a mattress up the stairs so I'd have somewhere to sleep. Then I typed my reply. I told him Raina's father would be walking me down the aisle. I told him he was the one who showed up to every parking lot pickup for the last 10 years. I told him the spot he wanted was already filled by someone who never left. He sent back a long message about how people change and how he deserved a chance to make things right. I didn't respond. Raina's dad found out at the rehearsal dinner when I asked him to walk me down the aisle and he started crying before I finished the sentence. That's my dad, the one who earned it.